On this episode of Broken Gear, our dirt track Charger's in some trouble. Huh, never noticed that before. Anyway, I'm trying to get into the trunk because I've never been in it before. I'm hoping there's a battery or something in it. Something that I can at least use as a core. I go to the parts store tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that's beat up. Nope. That's where a fuel cell would go. I think I got her. Well, that's a battery box anyway. No battery. Pro shocks. All right, let's figure out what year this Winnebago engine is so I can start getting parts. Normally, the casting number is on the driver's side of the block, or left side, but looks like this one has a plate mounted to the side of it, covering all of that information. Thanks. Yeah. That looks like a number. I don't know what it is yet. I can tell it's a number. I can't see crap down there. Part of it's because it's all built up and there's a bunch of buildup and stuff around the numbers. I have these. A nice gentleman at Ducktail gave us these when we were working on the Demon. That's an awesome video, by the way. You should go watch that one too. And he went and picked these up at a swap meet for us, and I want to thank you once again because I'm going to use them once again. That definitely looks like a 2. 72. All right. I'm going with that. That means it's a 69 Charger on some kind of 70s Caprice chassis, and it's got like a Winnebago 413 in it from the mid-70s. Although the big Mopar trucks had the 413s in them too until like 77. So it could be out of like a D400, D6, or 800 too, but the Winnebago sounds like a lot more fun. The parts store is going to be real excited when I tell them that combination. So it's a 69 Charger on a 70s Caprice chassis, and it's got like a 72 413 Winnebago engine in it.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
What the hell?
Back car side here after our exciting parts store run. I picked up some Marvel Mystery Oil. My plan was to kind of lubricate the engine, put some down the cylinders, put some across the top of the heads, and just kind of lubricate everything, oil it a little bit better before really trying to do too much. Try and get some fluid in there before things eat themselves up just with the metal to metal action. And I stumbled across something not so good. So I started pulling spark plugs out, and they don't look too bad. Obviously old, but little carbon buildup on them. This one had a little bit of rust on the end of it, but not right there. Not too bad. These ones didn't seem too bad. I have one that's stuck in there. Reason being is the flange here on the exhaust manifolds are really close to the part where the wrench goes on there. So that's going to be a pain in the neck. And the real issue here is I started just kind of finagling, seeing what's going on. A little bit of wiggle there, a little bit of wiggle there, little bit of play there, a little bit of play there, and then that. So I kind of looked into it a little further, and our push rod is way down in there. And I can actually pull it all the way out. So that's not ideal. It doesn't look all, I don't know if I can focus the camera. It doesn't look all chewed up on the end. But there's a reason why it's not the way it's supposed to be. So that means the intake's gonna come off, and we're probably gonna find a wiped out cam if I had my suspicions. Rats! I came to the other side of the engine. I'm starting to take some of the intake manifold bolts out, and you probably just saw what happened there. Those two on the driver's side are the same. Yikes. I'll tell you, one nice thing about these Colorado cars and just West cars in general is these intake manifold bolts came out really easy. If this car and engine would have been sitting here in Indiana for however long it was sitting, those probably would have broken off and been a real pain in the neck. But that's besides the point. Right now, I'm gonna try and just kind of pry this intake manifold off. Now there is a little tray down here. I don't have those bolts out yet, but one piece at a time. I'm kind of afraid to see what it looks like inside this thing. I have a ugly suspicion that this engine's probably gonna come out, but let's just get to it here. Oh, I do not have very good leverage because I'm short. Oh yeah. All right, let's see how this goes. These are all just kind of one big piece here. This whole thing's trash. Oh yeah. There's some carnage in there. Wow. Dang. The damage in there is ridiculous. There's a whole bunch of cast pieces just kind of laying here in the oil valley. All these are just metal shards. Whoa. Ah. Oh, okay, so lifters, I mean, that one's got a little scratch on it, but this one's completely torn in half. And if you look down in here, this cam looks like it's in like 8 pieces. At least. Whoa. That looks like a piston. Look how scratched and torn up that thing is down in there. Wow. Yeah, so that explains that, obviously. Dang. I was really hoping that that wasn't the case. Okay. So, last night, I spent a little time wallowing in my sorrows as far as this engine goes. That is catastrophic. I don't think there's even anything salvageable about it. Looked like a lot of those cast pieces were actually from the block, probably like the retaining area that actually holds the cam. I thought about the direction that we want to take this car. There were quite a few thoughts, actually. Anything from, and don't hate me, LS was a thought. That's not going to happen. I kind of knocked that one down. I thought, you know what, this needs either a big block Mopar or like a 12 valve Cummins. Thought about a Cummins because, well, the thing needs everything anyway. But then I got thinking that a few months ago, Carson and I made a visit to a Winnebago. Should already know what it is. Winnebago. Looks more like a doomsday machine now.
Oh yeah. Just needs a big old snowplow on the front.
What's that?
Just needs a big snowplow.
Oh yeah.
Like made out of barbed wire and
something
some ripped.
Studded.
Yeah.
There you go.
It'll be beautiful.
And so here that engine is now. It's been sitting in the back of my garage pretty much since we got it. I did kind of tear it down a little bit just to see what I was working with at the time. Hi, Holly. be stuck in there. Anyway, I tore it down just because I had a lot of questions with it. Reason being is when we tore it apart, a lot of water was sitting in the exhaust pipe, and that pretty well chewed up the heads and the exhaust manifolds. In fact, there's still a section of exhaust manifolds sitting on this head. I do have more, well, better 906 heads for a 440. So I think these are probably going to end up going away, and we'll use those other heads. But that should be semi-easy to refresh up a little bit and then stick in here. Cleaned up this piston a little bit. Looks a little better. And then put a little Marvel Mystery Oil just in this to help lubricate it, because I haven't rotated over in, I don't know, probably a few months. Like butter. Yeah, this is a much better candidate. Cam looks pretty good. I haven't looked at the bottoms of the lifters. I don't know, I might end up swapping out the cam and lifters for something maybe a little more rowdy. Like I said, we have 906 heads for this guy. I don't know what heads were on it. I haven't really looked at them, but yeah, this is this already has me a lot happier. Just spent a little bit of time cleaning these up. Had a little razor blade. I went over this. I don't have any Brio pads here today. I'll have to get some for tomorrow, but I just kind of lightly went over these pistons with a little wire brush. Cylinder walls look nice for the most part. Little Brio pad, I'll get the last little bit of stuff. The cross thatching and the cylinders looked good. Yeah, like you can see right here, a lot of this stuff's gonna come off just with a Brio pad. A lot of it's coming off just with my finger there. I did put a little more Marvel Mystery Oil in there, maybe help loosen and break some of that stuff up. This cam obviously looks a heck of a lot better than the other one. The lifters are all, well, they're all in one piece. Yeah, they're a lot better. So I'm okay with that. While I'm waiting for stuff to come in for this engine, like head gaskets, and well, I'm basically going to do a whole gasket kit. I'm going to start disassembling stuff on this 413. We do need a few parts off of this to go on that engine, like the oil pan. That one's got the front sump. This one's going to have a rear sump on it. They should be compatible. Not all RB engines are compatible with each other. Like the heads are different, intake manifold, all that kind of stuff. Should bolt up to the transmission exactly the same. I think I should be able to reuse the distributor. I'll probably just go ahead and get a new water pump and stuff instead, because I do plan on driving this, and why mess with an old worn out one. Power steering should be the same. Gonna go ahead and try and keep that, because power steering would be really nice in this. Oh, geez. Look at the oh my goodness. I didn't notice this, but look at the damage on that from where something came up and smacked the bottom of this thing. Nice. Oh, it split it. Jeez. That's crazy. That was holding the fan to the core support. Not even, okay, whatever. We'll have to probably chop a few wires here to pull the whole radiator out, but hey, pulling the whole radiator out is probably gonna make this a whole lot easier for me. Oh no, it's zip tied. The radiator is being held on with zip ties on the front of this mesh grill, or whatever you want to call it, which I keep getting myself caught on. So I think I'm just gonna come through, cut all the zip ties, undo these little wire ties that are holding it on, and save myself from getting jabbed on this thing, and then we'll just get it out of the way altogether. I don't anticipate we'll probably reuse this little mesh thing anyway. And based on what I'm seeing on the radiator, we're probably not gonna end up using it either, just because it's pretty banged up, and I really highly doubt it's gonna hold any fluid. Oh. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Definitely usable. Just working on taking these headers off. Obviously we can't take the engine out of the car with them on. I'd like to keep these headers in the car if we can. I don't know if headers are compatible between a 413 and a 440, but I'm gonna at least try. Could probably Google it, that would tell me. I will have to say, one nice thing about this car so far is everything's really easy to get to and work on. Not having these inner fender wells has made getting into all of this stuff very easy. The engine and transmission isn't pressed all the way flat to the firewall, so I can get in here and get these transmission bolts out, or bell housing bolts out, pretty easy. There's a lot of just random crap. I don't know of any red wire that should attach directly to the block. And there's a lot of just random wires too. A lot of them that are cut and not connected to anything. And a lot of them that are just all kind of bundled together. But yeah, so far everything's been pretty easy to work on, or at least get to. I have noticed a few things that were just kind of, I don't want to say thrown together, but like this right here, this is your brake line for that disc up front, and they both come out right here. Of course the master cylinder's in here, so that makes sense, but yeah, I mean, it just looks like somebody bent the crap out of the line to that. Yep, that works. All right, we're good to go. Which I'm okay with, because honestly that's probably not much different from anything that I would do. Not on this thing anyway. Now a nice car, yeah, I'd probably tuck stuff up and make it look a little more presentable, but it doesn't really matter on this. Is this wire even connected to anything? Another really nice thing about this car is that it came with a workbench. This dashboard that's in here holds a lot of tools really nicely, and for the most part I can reach anything that's right here. At this point I've gotten a lot of stuff disconnected from the engine itself. The power steering pump and everything is just kind of sitting over there, hanging over the edge. I'll have to probably replace those rubber lines anyway in this power steering box down here, or the pump itself may leak no matter what. The transmission's still connected. I've still got this connected. It's that alternator bracket that's been modified with a chain to mount it to the chassis. Probably if an engine mount breaks, that way it doesn't sling around and come through the hood. The headers are disconnected. That was not that easy. My pain in the ass spark plug. I am going to leave that in there because it doesn't matter at this point. Transmission needs to come out still, or be disconnected still. And then I think this thing will probably be ready for the plucking. I have a long way ahead of me. Best spacers ever. This is like $5 worth of washers on 3 bolts. I've got one more to pull out. That's great. All right, well, we're back under this thing. Nice bashed in oil pan. I do plan on reusing that, so I'll pull that off when the engine's out of the car and bang it back out and stick it on the other engine. Working on the torque converter bolts, gonna pull those out. Have just a couple more bell housing bolts to pull out. That one I think's probably already semi-loose. Have a nice sturdy trans cross member for the back. Have this nice little Harbor Freight jack stand here on the front. Yeah, we're gonna get to it and maybe even get this thing out of here today. That was not easy. Since the engine doesn't turn all the way over, the torque converter bolts were not that easy to get out. I had to like go one way, then the other, then one way, then the other. And then I couldn't get one because it was way in there. I couldn't get it to come down in there. Yeah, just like that. That's how that went. Well, I've got the engine hoist here. The engine mount bolts are out, all except for just 2 that are kind of pinned in there until we get the weight off of the engine. All the bell housing bolts are out. The torque converter bolts are out. I don't know where my chain is for my hoist, so I'm probably going to have to either find one or pick up a new one tomorrow. I think Carson probably has it. I'm blaming Carson because he's not here to defend himself. So that's where we're sitting right now. That sucker should be out here tomorrow morning. Peace. Well, that's not gonna reach. This might be my opportunity to get rid of this stupid bumper. Yeah, let's go ahead and take care of that. Nice bolts. Those are gonna be great and easy to take out. That makes that a little less easy. So we're just gonna use our grinder there and give that a good all snip snip. Clean up that edge a little bit, that way I don't burn myself or cut myself on it. I think we're ready to get this stupid thing out of here. All right, Mark, you said you wanted this stupid thing. Come get it. And stay there. Take my bumper bolts. You can have those too, Mark. So I realized that our core support here, which actually looks like a Mopar core support, was just bolted in, except they welded a plate over this one bolt. You can kind of see the end of it still hiding down there. Since it is just one bolt, can I just rotate this? Maybe. Out of the way. Rotate it out of the way. Like just rotate it out of the way. No, doesn't look like it's going to be that easy. That is at least down a little further. That might help a little bit. Just have to lift the engine less is the plan. Look how nicely that fits in there now. Jeez, it's like it was designed for that or something. Just gonna that right on out of there. All right, theoretically that should be it. I guess we'll just give her a good old crank here and see what she does. Oh, nice. Up and at 'em. Right off the transmission as planned. Got our dipstick and some pinched off line hanging in there. Our trans lines are out of the way. Make sure we got everything on this side. It's connected. That's our trans kick down. It'll end up just kind of moving out of the way. That's it. She's up and at 'em. And I did find out that these headers should also work on the 440, so I'm pretty happy about that. Forward a little bit. Get that off the trans kick down some. And as long as I clear the oil pan on the K-member down there, we can come forward a little bit more. That one plugged off lines getting hung up on the header. Okay, that one's done. Those are free. Let me get a better angle here for you. Yeah, there we go, that's better. Okay. I still on that trans kick down. That's the throttle. They didn't have a throttle cable, it's just a rod. Probably because cables will fail a little easier than just a rod. Oh, try not to bounce it too much. Come on, little hoist. Harbor Freight for the win. Alright, I think that's gonna do her. Stupid thing's way up in the air. It's coming down off the concrete ledge here in my driveway. There we go. Once I've cleared the front, I'll lower the engine down. That way it's not just a giant pendulum swinging up there. I think we're about at that. How about that? You can see where they've had a few different engines mounted in here. All the welds and then the big block Mopar brackets just kind of welded on there. They're good enough on there for me. I'll probably end up hooking this chain back up there just for good measures also. But yeah, let's start tinkering with this a little bit because I'm going to plan on reusing this pan as long as everything's okay on it. Figure out what else I can use off of it. Probably not going to end up being a lot, but we'll see. I may do a teardown on this engine. If any of you guys are interested in seeing everything that's inside of it, comment in this comment little section there and let me know. If not, I'll probably just take the things off of it that I'm going to plan on using. I don't know if the heads are going to be any good or not. May take those off just to see. But yeah, if you want to see a full teardown on this, comment, let me know, because it's sitting here. I might as well. Yeah, there we go. Oh, let me grab the other camera for this. So, I don't know how else to say this, but that's what's in the oil pan. I'm glad I ordered a new one of these, because I bet that's just packed full of crap, for one, and for two, it's probably not any good if it sucked any of that stuff up. But yeah, those are rods and end caps. And there's the part of the cam that we were missing. Wow, look at that. These are trophy material. My neighbors are really impressed. We need to go inside now.